Welcome everyone to the Blueprint for Peace for Humanity, Day 12, afternoon session for Wednesday, July 19th, 2017. And this is a production of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And we will carry on with where we ended off in the morning session today, where we were reviewing the letter of peace, you might call it, and we can have a look at that, and perhaps we can get some comments later on another topic, the health aspect of peace. And we're also still looking and hoping for a Mojan teaching from one of the Mojans at some point. Okay, so hello, Carolyn.
Hello. Hi, good afternoon. We are back alive.
Yes.
All have enough shots of coffee and tea and cake and whatever to refill the batteries.
Well, you got a camera on my desktop here or something? Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay. I want to start the meeting. If you open the letter, that would be very nice, because I have some information. You remember Jalal asked me to go and read in private, to read something, but I couldn't have access. So in the post time, I went to read it. And he came up with a very, very delicate point. From his point of view, I understand Jalal perfectly, and so many others which are in the teams. It's something that's going to have to be explained in a gentle way for everyone to understand, because some people have missed certain parts in certain presentations, but that's no problem. We can repeat. First of all, when the letter opens up, the question from Jalal came that he has a huge problem and he wanted it to be adjusted. And I said, it doesn't need to be adjusted, because I understand what he means. And I said, it will be sorted through my explanation, because maybe even a lot of other people are not even aware of it. He says that certain leaders, specific Arabic leaders, will not be able to attend the peace treaty or sign for the peace treaty because of their origin, because of the situations which have been held up for such a long time. Everybody knows that certain people do not cross or visit certain, even if they are neighbor nations, they won't. It's a barrier which has been created. But I want to explain that the Universal House of Justice, which is present in Haifa, which is in Israel, it is in the state of Israel. And his question was, no Arabic leader agree that this land is because it is of Israel. I said, I will open the teaching straight away with this information to ease and explain more into depth. This temple has been built on the wish of Baha'u'llah, which this whole beautiful place and the gardens are built in a way with a slope towards the water, the port, with one purpose, and maybe this will be explained very easy, that all the members from the Baha'i faith have worked and collected and really, really created a beautiful temple. But they're all over this planet. They're in each country, they're in each continent, and they have all contributed. Because you're a citizen from a country and you have participated to create such a beautiful building the way it is, the Temple of Haifa is marvelous. The layout is beautiful. Each one of all the countries around the world are owners of this building. This belongs to the world population. That was the whole setup. That's the whole wish. And this temple has only been built for one purpose only, to have one day all the world religion and all the heads of states, doesn't matter which title they carry, if they carry the responsibility of a country, to come to this building to sign a peace agreement. That's what this temple is standing for. That's what the Baha'is have worked so hard for. And this was the wish from Baha'u'llah, and the reason why that building is in the position where it is. Because they have facilitated that not a single leader has to cross another person's territory, as we express it in this form today. They can come over the water, which carries no name, and come to a neutral position, which is that property which belongs to mankind, because every single soul of the Baha'is around the world, from each nation, each language, each corner of this planet, has donated to make this building to be existing the way it is today. So there should be no fear that one will refuse because of the excuse of whatever. This has been taken care of already long time before. And you need to be a Baha'i and know about this to be able to explain. I've been debriefed about this position and why and how, and the purpose for it through Mr. Keshe. So also other people which are Baha'is, they can come forward and they can explain the position why that building is there and the purpose for it. Because the Baha'i faith has this kind of, what shall we name it, journey to go towards peace for mankind is supposed to take place in that building. So don't work with fear, don't work with hesitation, have no fear, because it was built for this purpose. And that's why Mr. Keshe directed the invitation towards there on the 2nd and the 3rd of August. If you have more questions, you can come into public. Now you understand as well why the letter doesn't need any changing and doesn't need any adjustment, because every single leader can be present in that building because it belongs to the world population. It doesn't belong to nobody else. It belongs to all of you and all of us. And that's why it's been dedicated to go there to fulfill the wish and the creation for what it was meant to sign the peace agreements. Was that clear enough, Jalal?
It's very clear. I know that, Caroline, and I don't even mind anything. This is my land. Wherever it is my land, I am from Earth. I am not belonging for someone, but because I understand, I have the touch of Mr. Cash, and I understand that. But do you accept? Do as Caroline? Do you accept that this Haifa or this place is belong to Israelis, state of Israel? No, no one accept that because it's occupied, and especially the Arabic nation, they are fighting for their land for since 60 years, more than 60 years, and they give so many souls. I know the leaders, they don't care about that, but I don't give them any. If there is 1% chance that this leader he will come to this land, to Haifa to make agreement of peace. I will not give him the excuse that he will refuse, because it is in the name of state of Israel. Just take this one out, say, gather in Haifa, this beautiful spot.
We have to address, because each leader will be addressed in person. So there is no exception for nobody. Everybody is equal, even among the leaders. This will create.
That is right. That is right. We are equal. So why you give it to Israelis? Why you name it in Israelis name? This land for all.
No, we don't, because you have to give the exact location. It's the position which is given. It is not the name. We are still depending on you, or let's say present in Austria, or you're present in Germany. We have to indicate where the location is.
Austria and Germany is in Europe. You can say Berlin. It's in Europe. All of them know it. Haifa is in Middle East. Just say Middle East. Cairo is in Africa. All of them know that.
Jalal, this is
yes.
Azar.
Yes,
Can
Azar.
I say something? You see, if I had the whole planet, and they said this land is Azar's, and then somebody says the only way we can have a world peace, you have to give everything back to us, I would do it. So why do you even care what's the name of the place? You can put any name on you want it on it. Put X, Y, Israel. Name is name is
yes. I know 100%, Azar.
If you as a person which believe in peace want to still stand for the thing that why Israeli have this land, why we say we go to Israel, then we have a problem from inside, because we have to accept, look, whatever name it is, accepted. The world leaders, I mean, we have to accept it. I mean, this is the place is in their name. It's just a name. We're
They
gonna go
occupied
to
it. Wait, Azar, please. Look, now we know how to be an injustice. We are equal, and Mr. Cash teach us to be equal with the other human beings or any, to be equal. So why I give this name to Israel? This is belong for all. Before was for Juden, and then come the Christian, and then come the Muslim.
Jalal, I will give you. I wrote to you because, funny enough, this text, which was in your personal correspondence, it says, I answered you, the position of Haifa is especially created for this purpose. Especially for this purpose. This mountain belongs to everyone. Doesn't matter who, what, where, when, it just carries a name. But if you have been present in so many teachings of Mr. Keshe in the past, he has huge problems, and there are huge problems with Israel. It's in the teachings. They said, we talk to everyone except Mr. Keshe. So it's not because it doesn't, this is exactly what I tried to explain in the first part. Nothing can go wrong. There is a reason why it doesn't feel right. There is a reason why it doesn't feel good, but it has, because your soul doesn't reveal everything for you, but the path is correct. Trust in the path where this is going to. Names, places are irrelevant, but we have to apply them today to be able to explain for everyone to know where to orientate and where to position. It's like a telephone number. This place just carries this kind of telephone number. It will not upset, it will not insult nobody. Because once they see the opportunity, how that gate will open up, for what? Peace. I think a lot of names will not exist anymore as we know today. So calm down. There is no problem. There is a purpose and there is a reason. Trust your soul and trust the mission and trust the purpose for why and where this is going and why it is particular having this kind of name, the state of Israel, Haifa. It has, and I tried to explain it and I thought you understood. It has a specific purpose for a specific target. Target is the wrong word. It's been created. Go in the writings of Baha'u'llah. Go in the writings of, you will find the reason why it was built there. It is in that location for that certain point. Don't bother with names. Don't bother with where, what, because it's all been taken care of. The souls will not guide you to a place where it is impossible to accept to sign for peace. This is your trust you're losing. Don't lose your trust.
I am not
That's why
losing. I'm sorry, I'm not losing that, and I swear you, I know everything about that.
you
Haifa
don't need to
is very
swear. You don't.
beautiful place and lovely place and highly place that I don't mind. But look, my dear, if I want to bring one single Arabic to this meeting, if I tell him, you go to Haifa and this is state of Israel, he will not accept it. Just like this. Because
Jalal, if you already say they will not, you confirm they will not. Why? Why can't you confirm and say the door is open? If you really want peace, it doesn't matter where you go and sign for your peace, because otherwise we're going to go back in, and this process and all this work goes into the bin. It is impossible, Jalal. We're all heading in the direction of yes, it can and it will be done. Not ifs and buts and refusing, because the refusing will be upon them, not on nobody else. You cannot decide for a leader if he wants to really sign for peace. Don't put any doubt in it. That's where you already changed the fields.
I don't want to give him excuse to not come. That's
you
why.
don't. Nobody gives nobody excuses. Why? Why do we have to give excuses for signing peace? Where is the excuse? Everybody can create millions of excuses the minute I put the phone down. You can all start and say this and that and there, and you will not even stop we can't even finish the teachings why there would be an excuse not to sign the peace treaty. It's all in the letter, Jalal.
Yeah, I know that, but there's one
So
thing.
we are reversing the process of this agitation. They
Look,
cannot refuse if they want peace.
Okay.
How can you refuse, Jalal?
I will
Put
not.
faith in your
I am not refusing, my dear. Look, you remember how Mr. Cash brought the Iranian and the American to the negotiation? How? Because he have the power. He was equal.
No, not in that matter. He put his hand across the table of peace. Every single one of you has the same power, in the same equality, to put the hand out for peace. If you put excuses and not to give them any excuses, then Jalal, you are already doubting. You can't. You have to give your hand to give, not to hold back and not send a package that it can arrive at the destination. You're holding back, not to give the buts. You have to confirm when you put your hand out, it is a hand of peace. That's your confirmation. That's what you create in your path. You give the hand of peace with no buts, with no hesitation, no excuse, and no nothing. You just give it. It's the giving which will return and gives you so much more. That's what I was trying to explain to you. Don't hesitate when you hand out your hand of peace. Mr. Keshe had only one thing. He did not hesitate to put the hand out with no attachments. This is the peace. I give you the hand of peace. No attachments attached. You understand?
I understand.
If you put hesitation and you put excuse and you put this and you put conditions on your giving, so your giving is not free. Your giving is not in the liberty of just a gift. And we have been trying to teach this through every single layer of the knowledge in the Keshe Foundation. You give freely. Don't attach nothing to it. A gift. I explained it if you were in the teaching with the garage. You know, you want to order a gift for your child. So you should have understood, Jalal. You keep on recalling the package so it can't even reach its destination because you keep on interrupting. I need to do an extra payment. I'm ordering something extra. You are attaching things to, instead of giving your hand freely with no attachments. This is my hand. This is the peace. No attachments except the giving. Then you don't withhold nothing, and the universe and your creation can work with it. Don't hesitate. Don't attach nothing, that it can divert its course where it's supposed to land as a gift. If I give you a gift, I don't tell you, or I put a note on my gift, you know, Jalal, you can use it for 6 months, but then you have to give it back to me because it still is mine. You understand?
Yes,
Your gift has to be so pure, so transparent, and so freely, and let it go with the trust that you're the creator of this package of gift, that it will land and it will be received. That's the beauty of giving. Don't hold on to possess, because whatever you attach to it, it will and can and maybe divert the path. That's why you have to be so careful with how you create your wishes. We've been trying to teach people how to create their wishes. And if you're not sure about yourself, then create the wish for all Arab nations, that it becomes peaceful for every single soul. Then you have multiplied your gift with how many millions, Jalal? With no attachment, just to give. You will receive so much more. That's the beauty of it. That's the real point of giving. Nobody has any more power than above the other one. No. That's where you got the message the wrong way. It's the way you give, and it's been given, that it can be received in the content of how you give it. You don't hold back. You give fully from your heart. You give fully from your spirit. You give fully from where you want this to have the destination, that it can create the path. Then you're a true creator. And you will deliver the message, but in its purity. But it will carry the number of Jalal and so many other souls. And this is what we are trying to do. This is what we are creating, this dome of field. As I explained with Naomi, every time I pay the attention to Naomi, you see the burst of energy she's receiving and how she's moving, how she's improving, how her day, the people which are taking care of her, Giovanni can explain to you. They can't even keep up with the programs they're planning ahead for her to follow, because this is the normal process to follow. They have to keep on rewriting the process because she's going faster than they can even develop it. Now you can imagine, if you give so freely, so fast, in the true sense of giving, you will be running, Jalal. Then you're a true peacemaker, a true giver with no attachments, because you create the fields and they connect with the other fields, and we create this plasma field which is just engulfing the whole planet. We become one. Overnight we will become one. It's just the trick how to understand how this gift is given freely. No attachments, please. No fear, no hesitation. Mr. Keshe, the only thing, and he has told so many times, he said, I just put my hand out. This is the hand of peace. And he didn't say nothing else. The hesitation came from the other side, and Mr. Keshe said, you just have to accept it, that's all. You understood, Jalal? You've been in so many teachings.
Fully, I understand that.
So, recreate your wish. It will be done. It will be done.
Jalal, this is Azar again. We're going toward once we sign a peace treaty, we're going toward the no borders. It means after that, we're not going to sit down and say who did this, who did that in the past, what have you done, who did you kill, none of that. We just forgive and just move on. Move on to the world that has no border. All we have is peace. And that's it. I mean, nothing else. We don't think about what land was it, what was the border, who did what, none of that. It's just completely, totally different world. We have to step out of the old pattern and get into the new way of living.
And thank you for
We had a very good example, Azar. We had a beautiful example. Everybody remembers South Africa. If you seen the movie, you understood how he did it. And that was one of the worst situations at that time. Nobody could imagine how it was possible for this one person to create such a movement. He was an example. Go and watch the movie, how he played and how he eased the pain and the suffering and how he did it. He was a marvelous example. It's still growing, it still needs work, but he made the change. He brought the change. He had no fear. There was nothing to be afraid of anymore because he already came out of the worst position a man could even imagine. How many years was he locked up in solitary? What kind of life did he have? But when the doors opened, did you see what this man achieved? Nobody could even imagine. But he did it. Because of one thing, he was no higher than you and me and anyone else or Mr. Keshe or nobody. He just had faith. And he did it. With no fear. Because his fear was already gone. Because if he would have given up and given in to fear, then he would have died in that cell. He would have not come out alive after so many years. But he stood as a proud man. He walked as a proud man. This is what we all need to do, to walk, to stand with full confidence. We will give peace. We will create peace. We will become one because this is the target we all want. If this is the true purpose where we are going, and we have been working already for so many weeks on this. Give the gift of giving, no attachments. That's what he did. That's what you all can do if you understand. If you have any questions how to create wishes and to confirm your wish, to be able to, for you to create it. I brought it yesterday in the teaching. We were writing this letter, Jalal, and out of nowhere, the spaceships just appeared to confirm in a physical way. You see us, we see you, we are there, we are present. I do not know what more information we can bring to the table that we are achieving our goal. The only thing I wanted to achieve with opening this letter and when Rick starts reading it is for us, What we read is what we know up till now, this minute. I wanted to incite everyone to come with a new platform to start before designing, that we know the path and the road we're going to take as souls. What is our wishes? That's why I was asking if the Earth Council members are present, that they can pave the road, that we all can support them, because they're responsible for, because they are the Earth Council. Stay in your giving, simply giving. Don't hold back, don't hesitate. We are all there to support one another. And we're all working very hard to achieve this. And we don't give up. No way. If Rick can start, that would be very nice. Hello?
Carolina, can you hear me? This is Soraya
Yes.
speaking from Switzerland. I'm glad that this topic has been brought up on the table, because to me it was also an issue, to be honest, because as Jalal said, it is difficult for the Arabic people to see that for this big important event, Haifa has been chosen. And I can also feel like all the other Arabs, why this is difficult to go exactly to this place, where, because it's a stolen land and all the daily killing is going on. So for us, it's easy, very easy to say, no, we will do that. If that will happen, we wish it. But for those who have this daily violence, it is difficult to accept this special place, Palestine, which is now the state of Israel. So actually, to be honest, I have the same feeling, or I had the same feeling even now, because I'm now doing the translation from English to German of the peace treaty. It's not easy to type this, because there are so much other places which are more neutral. And my wish was on actually, I would have been happy if another place would have been chosen, where a neutral place. And that's also why I think it will be difficult to get the Arab leaders, especially to Haifa, to this place.
But this is what I'm trying to confirm to you. This is the place which belongs to all of us and you, because it's been built by all of us and you. That's why it has this purpose.
It's only the name, Caroline.
Wait,
please. Just one second.
Every stone in that building, Jalal.
I am not speaking about Haifa. Haifa is a good place. It's okay. Haifa and this place and this Universal House of Justice is beautiful. Universal House of Justice. This is very beautiful. But I will not give this name to Israel. You understand? I'm not speaking about the place where the conference will be. I'm saying Haifa is not state of Israel. State of Israel. You don't understand.
How you want?
It is Palestine. It is.
You can say Palestine. Don't say Palestine. Say the Holy Land in Middle East. Haifa, the Holy Land in Middle East. Because if I translate it to the Arabic and I will say state of Israel, that I am saying, I am proving that Israel has the right to take this place from the Palestinian. You understand? This is my concern. This is my question. This is only the name. Take out the state of Israel.
In general knowledge, the phrase "state of Israel" is referring to Israel as being the 51st state of the United States.
Exactly. And that's the point. It's the what just.
Well, wait a minute. The state of Israel was in May 1948. Is when it was declared the establishment of a Jewish state in Iran's Israel to be known as the State of Israel. That's what it's been known as officially. So it's not. It's officially called the State of Israel. It's not a state of the United States.
You call it, Rick. You call it officially State of Israel. In Arabic land, we call it Palestine. It's occupied by Israel, and they are fighting for 60 years for taking out this name.
I'm just talking about the name itself that we were just discussing.
I know
that it's the 51st state of the United States, but it isn't. It's actually called the State of Israel. That's what it's officially known as, and so on. It does make some sense to take that out in a way, but on the other hand, the seat of the Universal House of Justice, if you look at their actual address that they use, then it does include Israel as the as part of the address. It's not like an independent. Free country, I don't think, within, even though isn't it supposedly the a separate entity within Israel, this the Universal House of Justice and
that's
the
not the
buildings
Universal
there.
House of Justice, Rick.
Oh, that's the other buildings and so on involved.
If I may say my word here regarding Jalal's issue. I understood this is a communication problem and translation problem. Italy, it's called Italy in English, it's called Italia in Italian, and if I translate it in Hungarian, we say Olaszország. So how about if Jalal translates into Arabian language as the Arabian readers are expecting it?
It's about the acknowledgement of Israel. So that means Palestine doesn't exist anymore, and Arab people won't agree to that because it's also the feeling, because every Arab knows it's stolen land and the daily killing, the suffering is still going on. So to type State of Israel, it's like, okay, they've stolen the land, it is now our acknowledgement, we agree, and Palestine, oh, we don't care anymore, they can kill the remaining Palestine.
Are we singling?
It's that feeling, actually.
Has the translator some freedom in translating?
Hello. We can. Why not adding both names? Why not adding State of Israel and Palestine? And that is actually would be, let's say, the Israelis won't like it, I'm sure, but that would be maybe a solution to give a little bit better feeling for the Arab people, because they really suffer very bad. And I suffer from this as well. Yeah.
May I bring a suggestion forward? We have a meeting tonight with all three members of the councils, the core team, the Earth Council, and Universal Council. This will be the first topic we will put on the table, because we are working on another support project for the same purpose of this meeting. We will bring this forward and we will share it straight away into the private Zoom chats to whoever needs to translate this letter, to bring you an ease point how we as council members will go through this thoroughly, and hopefully we can even maybe get the advice of Mr. Keshe. If we don't come out of this dilemma to ease your, I understand fully what you mean, then maybe we will have to wait till tomorrow morning, and that's a Thursday morning teaching. Mr. Keshe will be present. Then we can bring this topic forward. If we can't find a solution for you all to be at peace, because this is a peace process, we will bring then the explanation tomorrow morning, first thing on the teaching tomorrow morning, if that is okay with all of you.
Hey, Caroline, I have to say something. When we go back in history, in Persia, if you look at the size of Persia, it included part of Afghanistan, Pakistan, India. It was a whole territory. Now, if you want to have a peace treaty, say some location in some place in Afghanistan, it's just a name, just say city of whatever. And then if you look at the writing in here, it says in Haifa, in the state of Israel, it just says where is the location. That's the location of name. So, for example, if we say that about Persia, if somebody says in Afghanistan, Persians should say, oh, 200 years ago, this was in Iran. But we're talking about the location.
Azad, are you still fighting? Are you the Afghani? They are still fighting with you, Iranian, to the land, or the Pakistani, or
No,
even the Iraqs? No.
General, read the sentence again. It says, it doesn't say we accept. It doesn't say together in Haifa in the Israel that we accept Israel. We don't say that.
For the Arabics, Azar, for the Arabics, that is poison in the honey, my dear. I am going to
Azar,
I'm going to
Azar,
no.
Azar, Jalal, excuse me, Azar, Jalal, and all the other members which have this kind of agitation. We will stop this discussion. We will meet with the councils. If we still cannot reach to a point that everybody doesn't have no agitation about any point, if we can't reach it, we will ask Mr. Keshe to be our advisor tomorrow morning. Because I know the reason why it's there. I know why and how this is the way it is. But it's not my task to go and explain this. It's Mr. Keshe. I give that honor to him because he will go into more depth than you will all say. Most probably you will say, now I understand. I cannot go into, because it's quite political, it is very sensitive, and I prefer Mr. Keshe to handle and deal with these kind of things. So if we can put it to rest and give it some patience tonight, if we can't sort it out, we'll move it to tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning. I will debrief Mr. Keshe about this problem, so he will address it straight away first thing tomorrow morning. Is that agreed for all of us?
Yes, Caroline, thank you for
Thank
saying
you.
that.
No more explanation, please, because too many people are not at ease with this, and I understand their point. So please, can we move to the letter and ask Rick to start opening the first phrase, please?
I accept. But you send.
Thank you.
But you send me one part of your birthday cakes.
I can send them by picture, but I can't slice them up.
Jalal, I just want
Caroline, can I say something? Just very quick.
Yes.
I am not coming back to all the discussion, but I was hearing. I fully support what Jalal is saying. It was one of my points as well when I heard Haifa, and I talked to some of my people, and I said, yes, we are organizing in Haifa signature of the peace treaty. They said, oh, Haifa in Palestine. I say, oh, yes. So the first thing coming in the mind is Palestine. So if we are not finding a way to satisfy what we want, it will be a big issue for us.
Okay, let's carry on to the next part of the conversation here. I think Caroline was quite clear that we're not going to carry on with this conversation anymore. We'll deal with it in private with the meeting. Okay.
Thank you.
So let's carry on here. Now you want me to read this?
Thank you, Rick. Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Rick, and thank you, Caroline. But I do feel like you are cutting off some input here.
Yes, we are. Sorry, Nicholas. Okay, you are listening to me and Caroline. We have determined that we're going to take this conversation into the meeting. We'll discuss it with the letter and so on, but not here in public. Okay? So we're going to end that conversation now. I will read the letter as Caroline requests, and we'll carry on. Okay? Thank you. Now, can we please carry on? Caroline, you want me to read the letter from the top here? Is that the idea?
I would love you to start with the first chapter, that if we go very slowly and then give time brackets for people to bring their input, but please don't go back to the topic we just closed, because I will warn you, it is extremely sensitive, and I do understand, but it's not my position, it's not my place to go into any depth further for this, because it has a purpose and it has a reason. And I will leave that to Mr. Keshe to sort this matter out. So please do not go into this matter. And I would love you to open it up in phrases as you see suited, that it shows the topics in the letter, and then give it openly to be discussed for the new platform, how we're going to walk with this path of peace. Thank you.
Okay, let's begin here. It's really hard for me to scroll here, so bear with me. Okay, let's deal with the first paragraph here. Okay, it says, Your Excellency, in brackets, Your Highness, and then Your Excellency's name. And that part with Your Excellency's name can be altered in the PDF so that you can put the person's name in there.
Unfortunately, the addressation is not editable on the PDF. And either you say Your Highness, either Your Excellency, or whatever. So that should be editable as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it goes. We, the members representing the Earth Council, Universal Council, and core team of Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, by teaching new technology and creating new opportunities for peace over the past 12 years, have given a new opportunity for mankind to choose the path of peace. Our objective is world peace, and its urgency is obvious now more than ever before. We request...
The comma, Rick, the comma after now, I think is not necessary.
Okay, if the editors can notate that. And then again, this is
sorry, grammatically is needed. Because there are two parts of the sentence with the same descriptive role. One is now, and the other is more than ever before, so it's an enumeration. It's obvious more than ever before, or obvious now, the comma is needed.
Okay, well, perhaps we could discuss that in the meeting as well about the letter.
Okay.
And it goes on, we request all peace-loving world leaders and the represented people to join us to establish world peace.
I would take a pause there, Rick, and ask people if they understand the depth of what is in the first paragraph, please. Or maybe I will open the door. We request all peace-loving world leaders. So, wherever we feel, I think, that there might be hesitation, I think we have to increase our fields of our wish in the direction of those leaders. How does anyone feels that we can achieve this more?
I think we request all leaders, irrespective of whether they are peace-loving or not.
We will not change the letter anymore. It can have small corrections, but the letter in its total will not much change anymore, Quata. I'm asking for the people how they interpret and how we can direct the flow of the energy as a gift to the leaders that we are aware of personally in the condition where we are and how we are, how we can increase the fields. Because we are all knowledge seekers. As John showed this morning, we all have the tools at our disposition. How are we going to achieve this, to increase the field? I'm searching for ideas and insights from people which can add to the knowledge to be able to work, to give more ideas to other people which maybe don't have a clue how to do it. We heard John this morning. Maybe we know that we can work through our Ganses. We know we can work through our Magras. We know we can work through our star formations. Maybe we can ask the doctors and involve them how we can bring people to peace because they have seen the results. And they joined us specific this afternoon to come with more explanation. How are we going to create and how can we achieve for a person to become more peaceful? How do they apply this in their way of working? Because it's a part of our structure to heal a person, to reverse the condition which was how they were before they came to this position. Dr. Klaus, are you present?
Yes, I'm present, Carolina. I can see there are also members of the medical teaching present. Maybe one of you could talk about the work, about how you apply plasma technology and about the processes you have been experiencing your patients went through during the process. As you know, we don't talk about healing in the medical sector. We talk about processing. And why do we talk about processing? Because as the doctors and therapists found out, if you apply plasma technology, the people go through a specific process. They come to the basics, to the ground, to the reasons of their illnesses, of their diseases. They come to emotional basis. And as the doctors in the medical teaching report, the patients start to talk about specific situations, maybe in their childhood or during specific periods in their lives. And this was the beginning of the medical teaching, somehow strange to some participants, because they, especially from the under brackets old medical school coming doctors, were not so used to talk about emotions, emotional basis, emotional sources for diseases. But with the time, it was more or less a standard procedure to address the emotions, to also talk about specifically emotional reasons for the illnesses. And this is what I experienced. You know, I organized medical teaching from first day on, and I could welcome a lot of therapists and doctors. And I also saw the processing of the doctors themselves, of course, because I just got here a specific case in my mind. A medical doctor started to apply plasma technology, started to use ganses. And he always reported that he sees this or that development with this or that patient. And after weeks, we all together found out that also the doctor made a kind of change in his behavior, made a kind of transition, made a kind of processing. So this is something we all went through together. We all experienced together that this technology reaches all of us, touches all of us, and especially addresses via the emotion, the soul. And as soon as we reach the point of talking about the soul in the medical teaching, the whole environment, the talks, the energy in the teaching changed from the more or less, I give this GANs to this or that patient with this or that disease. It changed about talking, about giving, about the soul, about the strength of the soul. We have even been at the level where we said, why do we need all these devices we built? Why do we need all these GANs? Why do we need all this? Because I have a case in mind we discussed in the teaching. There was a doctor presenting a case. This is what we normally do in the medical teaching. Doctors come in presenting a case. All of them are discussing and talking about what kind of technology, plasma technology, we could apply. And the doctor said, then, do you know what I think? I think all what I gave this patient, it would have been possible just by talking, just by giving this patient, just by giving from my soul to the patient. I think I could have the same results. This is what we then all realized. Of course, we need the technology, especially every single part of it, every single development, every single device we made is specifically here for picking up different types of people, doctors in hospitals, in all kind of organizations, to pick them up on their level. But as a team of medical doctors, we have been, or we are already in a kind of situation where we become aware that the giving from the soul is the core process of the success we had and we have. And if I talk about success, I of course talk about experiencing, watching the patients in their process, of developing, in the process of solving situations, emotionally based situations. And we are aware that when the emotional cause is solved, that also the illness is solved and the energy can flow again. And we talk about health, they talk about, of course, they are healed then, but all the doctors experienced that they all went through this processing, and that the processing is the reason why the health changed them. And this is, of course, when we have all the ganses and the machines we built and different types of machines as a help, as a tool, as a bridge, this helps very much. And as a total, what I could experience with all these beautiful cases which were brought in the medical teaching is that we went into a great number of different diseases where we can say we can offer a way, a path for the people to go, a red path to go. We can offer them a way how to solve specific emotional problems through guiding them with ganses, with machines, and with our soul, of course. And this is also what we found out, that when we build devices, when we nanocode, when we make ganses, that the giving from ourselves, that the intention is very important. And this is why we also started to talk about this in the medical teaching. What is the intention? What is, why are we making these different ganses? Why are we making coils? Why are we making balls? Why are we making these machines and all these combinations of different ganses? And this is quite a good atmosphere we have, and everybody is invited to join us, of course. If you are from the medical sector, if you work in as a medical doctor or as a veterinarian or as a dentist, or if you work as a therapist, please just get in contact, join us, and we welcome everybody. And of course, we experienced that, because we talk about peace, that when you are in peace with yourself, when you addressed all the emotional causes of your diseases, of your illnesses, when you get in balance, then you are a part of the whole peace process. A balanced woman, a balanced man who carries peace, who is equal in the energies, will never look for a weapon and will never think again that he or she wants to fight. And we are aware that this peace we offer the people by offering them ganses, talks, plasma technology, that these technology brings peace to the people, brings peace to the world, brings peace to humanity. And when we produce our devices, when we go into the nanocoating process, the peace is of course a part of the intention. The health, the balance, and the love is part of the intention. And if you create your ganses with these intentions, if you nanocoat with this intention, you spread this peace, this love around your area, around the world. And this is, of course, something we are aware of in the medical sector. And maybe some of the doctors or therapists, I see you are online, can talk about your experiences. You needn't mention any names. Please don't mention any names or any numbers or any details. You can just talk about your experience, like I tried to summarize now, because I have to explain the group of medical doctors is a very closed group, because we discuss specific cases in the teaching, and we look at MRIs, and we go into personal details and into personal talks. And now that this blueprint peace teaching is a very open teaching, it is another environment now. But you can talk like you talk in the teaching, but just not mentioning names or specific data. And please, if you like to, just share your experience. Thank you.
The transition takes all kinds.
Okay, do we have any of the requested doctors available to speak? I remind you, if you're an attendee, you can put up your hand and I can promote you to a panelist so you can speak.
Dr. Rodriguez, are you present? Can you connect with the microphone?
I'll try. Hello?
Because he has a very beautiful experience, if everyone remembers about the cancer, the breast cancer with the woman. It's so beautiful the way he explained how he reached the soul and step by step how he achieved the change of the process. And this is where I'm trying to guide you with your feelings of apprehension, of hesitation, to show you a path how you can achieve, how you can reach people. That's why I was trying to get Dr. Rodrigo in if was possible.
Yeah, I've unmuted him, but I don't hear him there. Dr. Rodrigo, are you there?
Sometimes the connection is not so easy.
I see something coming through in the microphone, but we can't hear anything at this end. Maybe there's a problem with the microphone connection or something. Okay, I'll mute you for now, Dr. Rodrigo, if you can work that out. Unmute yourself so you can speak. Are there any other of the doctors who would like to speak right now? Nicholas, are you in the doctor's class, perhaps?
Yes, I'm here, Klaus. I'm glad to speak, even though I know, Dr. Rodrigo has been a real leader in our group.
You need not always wait until Rodrigo has spoken.
I realize
knowledge
that.
is spread in the whole team.
I just wanted to honor him and you as well in the fact that he's been very influential in bringing us knowledge and also setting us on our own path to own that knowledge. So my experience has been with the different patients that I've worked with that initially the plasma healing modality, if you would call it that, has been very effective. First of all, it seems to pretty quickly take away pain and reverse things. In the deeper cases, I find that it takes longer to really rehabilitate or regenerate situations like ligament things or parts of the body that have been under some sort of dysfunction for a long period of time. When Dr. Rodrigo comes in, he will address the different ways that we apply the GANs. But from as I'm looking at it, we need to address the different triads, the different three parts of the human being. And so when we look at healing, we're not only healing the physical part, of the human being, but we're also healing or bringing into it the regeneration of life force and the vitality within the human being, and then also what one might call the emotional or the soul level. And so all three of these need to be addressed. And in certain ways, maybe the physical is the easiest because it's right in front of us and we're most used to it. What I am coming to is that there's something beyond just the healing. So once the body is healed, then the development of consciousness, the growth of the soul, if we want to call it the elevation of the soul, is absolutely essential. That the person that one's working with, the sooner they can take responsibility for their own life, the sooner they can realize that they create their own realities through owning their wish, if you want to think of it, because the wish is always there, whether it's positive or negative. And some people live on a negative wish. And so for people to own that and to bring forth what they want to create in their life, how they want their life to be, and bring a focus to that continuously and to clear out anything that is in the way is, I think, the deeper healing, or what is beyond healing, if one wants to speak of it that way, is the one that is a challenge. Because if this isn't taking place, then this disease that we've healed is going to come back in some other way. It's going to find its way of expressing itself because it is there, bringing a certain kind of consciousness, and to a certain degree, it is really serving the individual, either in terms of waking them up to their own personal growth. So generally, that's been my experience, is that we have to look at the whole person in the healing, and we have to have the courage to go in and not just heal the body, but to be able to speak to the individual about, what they may believe or what they have hidden somewhere inside themselves that needs to be cleared out for complete health. So that's some of my thoughts.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Yes, hello. My name is Ralph. I am also in the medical team. I want to say some words. I found here in this family of the Keshe Foundation and in this medical team the biggest and best experience in my own way to treat the human being and the whole family. It is absolutely the best family. My wish is peace, health and love for everybody. And also I want to say I salute this big fight of Mr. Keshe for the whole world and for the whole creation. I want to thank a lot. It's not only the plasma medicine, it's everything. Everything who is giving by Mr. Keshe, also by Caroline. Happy birthday, Caroline. And everybody in this team and everybody who takes his schoolings, also not only the private schooling, and be with us in the heart, in fully heart, so we can make peace. We can be a part for a better world, for our childs, for the earth, for everything. Thanks a lot. I'm in the south part of Germany, in Bavarian, near Munich. And I hope I can be a part of this team to change everything. Thank you. Yes, but thank you, Klaus, very much. And Rodrigo and everything of this team. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Hello, Rick. This is Lynn, and I'm the wife of Paul. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Paul is a veterinarian in the health teachings, and he put something together here in our house, and it's an environmental unit. I sent you a picture, a PDF of it, Rick. And
Yeah,
the reason,
that now.
Okay, the reason we did this is we see a lot of beautiful things that are made around the world, and I said, well, what can we do in Red Lodge, Montana? And I just want to add, Red Lodge, Montana has been the home and the land of many different people. And I'm sure if you were to ask the Crow or the Blackfeet or many of the native tribes, they had a tradition where they did not own the land, but they traveled the land and used the gifts of the land, and yet a group moved in and named the land their own. So this happens across the planet, and as I heard the discussion, I grew up in the Southwest and traveled a lot on the Indian reservations with my dad, who was a trader. And one of the places we'd go was the Hopi Reservation, the Hopi Indian tribe, which was in the middle of the Navajo Reservation. And so again, there's always these distinctions with lands. And I'm sure the Hopis would have been uncomfortable had we called it the Hotavilla Village in the Navajo Reservation. No, it was Hotavilla Village in the Hopi land. But the Hopi land happened to be encircled by the Navajo land. So it's just one of those global distinctions again that have been made with boundaries and borders that have been placed by governments or whatever onto people. But what I wanted to point out in this unit is there's a globe hanging in there, and the upper reaches of the unit have the CO2 and the GANs. And I'm going, well, you know, what can we do here in Red Lodge? We're around a lot of people with no ears to hear, no eyes to see, but we just keep doing what we do. And so I took the liberty to hang this globe. Now, I worked with a bigger globe I had, and I couldn't get it to, it was too big, and it wouldn't hang right and everything else. And this is a little old globe I found in a thrift store, and all the borders and country names and everything else are different than what's on a current day globe. So my whole wish here is that there's just peace for whatever lands and people are represented at whatever time on this circular thing that we call a globe. And the thing I wanted to show to people, we see many beautiful, elaborate units. And so, Rick, there was one more email that I sent where I said, let's see if you can do something. Let's see what kind of a budget we can use. Well, you see 2-inch thick styrofoam that's used to insulate houses. You see a metal rack holding it up that was a shoe rack I found at a thrift store that got cut apart to be a frame. You see plastic tubing that we got at the hardware store. The plastic tubing has Gans water that I found some corks and rubber stoppers at the hardware store. And there's test tubes and vials that have different Gans water, and we're waiting for more test tubes to come that are plastic, so if something drops, it's not going to cause a problem. But what we call this is the environmental unit because, first of all, it's a never-ending plasma energy, and I try to make that distinction with people. No, this doesn't expire in 3 months at midnight, and it's not going to run out and have to be recharged in 6 months or 4 years or whatever. It's never ending. But it's an environmental unit because the whole idea is to balance. And this is what Dr. Klaus has been talking about and what Nicholas has been talking about, and Rolf also, is to bring the change in the condition. You have to bring the balance to the emotion, to what is referred to as the dis-ease or the imbalance, and that is disrupting the peace, whether it's an individual, a planet, a cat, a dog. And I found it really interesting that both our cats went into the unit, and the bigger, darker colored cat has been a very sketchy cat because she was in a batch of kittens kicked out, dumped in a snowstorm, and she's never wanted to go outside again in her life. But she would run and hide when people came to the house, and now she's a lot more curious, and sometimes she'll still run and hide, but more often she'll come out and check and see who's out here. And she spent the first 3 or 4 years of her life practicing her hissing, but now she's more likely to purr. So if this environment can help an animal that had a dis-ease and was not at peace, she may not ever get America's Friendliest Cat Award, and that's okay. But what we see is she's more at ease. So this is the same thing we're looking for, and all of us are looking for that in our hearts and for our planet. So I won't go on anymore, but I just wanted to share that no matter where you are, no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what your finances are, you can accomplish what you set out to accomplish. And you can do a huge, huge amount with your intention. So I know that when Paul is making the GANs, he's putting a lot of intention, and that's what's going forth, and that's what Dr. Klaus was talking about. We have to have a mindfulness. Mr. Keshe talked about this. When he used to work with reactors, he always started his work with mindfulness, prayerful intention. And he worked with the reactor as having a soul, as I understand it, and then proceeded with his work. And I think with this whole effort for peace, we have to have the same thing, that we're coming to it and saying, no matter what your borders, no matter what your history, the big issue we want here, if we can get out of the scrabbling of whether, if the earth is an elephant and I'm living on the right ear and you're living on the left foot and somebody else is living on the right hindquarter, we're all going to have a different description and experience. But the whole point is the earth as the elephant is the one that needs the peace. The people on it need the peace, but underlying all of that and underlying all the scrapping we have over names and borders and boundaries is the fact that we're living on a being that needs to have peace. And we need to help bring that peace to the soul of that earth being and quit scrapping around about which part of it, whether it's the left ear or the elephant or the right foot or whatever, that we're on and we have a history with. The whole planet needs peace. So that's all I wanted to bring, and thank you. Oh, and somebody asked who was speaking, and it's Lynn from Montana, USA.
Thank you, Lynn. It's a beautiful unit built.
It's rustic, Klaus, but you know what? It works.
Or you can make it professional. It is all working. And every single device is, sorry.
Every device is going to work. And the thing is, if when people can see, they can make things with what they have at hand. And I love seeing the beautiful units that people are building. The Chinese are building some incredible things. You do some incredible things. Dr. Rodrigo does some incredible things. And then finally, you know, we have to say, well, what else can we bring to the table? So everybody has the ability to do something. And what Mr. Keshe has been focusing on more and more is we all have the ability to come here with our mindful, prayerful intention. And a long time ago, in one of the very first teachings I heard him do a couple of years ago, I believe Osir asked him a question and said, so do you think we could do all of this without any of these tools? And he said, yes. But we kept on learning how to make all the tools. And now what he is teaching is we can bring what is needed with our mindful, prayerful intention, imagining. So we don't even need the metal frame from the thrift store or by the way, the chair in there was a $6 chair from the thrift store. So
you didn't say this before.
Oh, I didn't say that before. I left out the $6 chair. So if we can all just look at it at that and say, well, what can I do? Well, we can all do the same thing. We all have our soul. We have our energies from our soul. We have our intention. And we can bring it, and just for starters, we can say, for starters, we want peace for the whole earth. We don't care what part we're on, because we can't just heal one part of the earth. The whole earth has to be healed. And I'm sorry, we don't. The whole earth could use a change in the condition, in the environment, and we need to help process that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. The more we build, the more we realize that we don't have to build so much. But just imagine what beautiful reactors we carry in our body. The beautiful star formation of the two lungs and the heart and the soul. And if you all kickstart them now, that's all we need. Beautiful unit, Lynn. And I like the globe in the center.
Thank you, Dr. Klaus. Rick, can we go to the second part of the letter, please? Thank you.
Okay, just a second here. Okay, I'll just skip over that one paragraph that needs to be sorted out still, I guess, and we'll go on to the next one. The designated dates for the signing of the peace treaty by the world leaders is to be on the 2nd and 3rd of August 2017. As a very large portion of humanity has now evolved from and beyond primitive, brutal behavior, it is time for leaders like yourself to take the initiative for peace. As country is a peaceful nation, what need is there for huge expense on armed forces? All military expenditure is actually a waste of taxpayers' money. The country has no need for aggressive behavior. We, citizens of this nation, are peaceful and happy by nature. It is time for change from war to peace. This is fundamental and necessary now. If this is your wish, it is ours also.
Thank you.
Okay, there's more. Should I be in there to discuss this part?
I think the topic to bring this change is very important for people to start from this topic to create a path of peace. And because it's mentioned that it's involved with people's tax money, I requested yesterday for people in their own fields where they are experts in every social structure or layer or ability to maybe a few already have prepared some visions which and how we can change this together with our governments. How we can sit down after signing the peace treaty. How are we going to bring this forward? How are we going to realize this? Without going into nitty-gritty, but in expertise, how are we going to sit on the table in equality to share and to show the new path? We're going to have to step up our own knowledge because we're still going to have to reach out in two ways. The path, it came back quite a few times today. And again, in the medical teaching, we are still creating and making the tools, and we are working on soul level. So to achieve the path, to be able to share the knowledge, we're going to have to work on those two levels. We're still going to have to be there on the path of the soul and creating the fields to sustain. But at the same time, we're going to have to show them a path through the physicality that they can understand and go through the same learning process to then to evolve very slowly to our soul level, as we have learned. So how can we combine this to bring this forward to our leaders?
Perhaps.
Anybody, any ideas?
Perhaps every man, woman, and child on earth needs a guaranteed weekly salary to be made of a brand new currency. Every man, woman, and child on earth would get the same weekly salary.
That's one idea that does seem to be coming up as in the near future here. Apparently in August 17th is when Indonesia is supposed to have a guaranteed monthly salary, like you're saying. It's also being implemented in 3 cities in Canada, a guaranteed annual income for as a pilot program that they're trying. And they're seeing if people get lazy when they do it, or they get creative and do things, and so on. And so it's the authorities are taking that seriously, actually. It's also been recommended by one of the corporate leaders of the world, in fact, several of them, including Elon Musk of the Tesla car company and SpaceX. He's recommending a guaranteed income for people because he recognizes the huge loss of jobs that can occur through automation that's coming up in the next few years. So there'd be all these people that could be unemployed due to loss of jobs in truck driving and taxis and other such things when everything becomes automated. But on the other hand, as we discussed earlier, and Caroline has mentioned, that there's an opportunity for so many new types of jobs to come up that there won't be any lack of jobs to do, essentially. But the idea of having a guaranteed income is that we can do the jobs that we like to do and we have a passion for, many of which will be cleaning up the planet, because lots of people are passionate about getting this planet cleaned up.
Do you remember, Rick, what Mr. Keshe keeps on repeating? Especially towards people which wants to start manufacturing, he says you can never meet the demand for 10 billion people.
Mm-hmm.
So where are we going to run out of jobs?
Mm-hmm. Right.
This is where I was trying to make the connection to present to the governments. What in our department of our knowledge that we have gathered over the years, even if it's in a physical form, to ease the path to the soul, we will still stay on our soul level working, but we can bring through the same way of Mr. Keshe has given us the example, to offer in the physicality the path, how we can solve these problems. Because we will reach so much, but still that part of the physicality will still be existing for the time being. So can we gather and make these platforms ready, that we are all ready to go to our own governments in our own levels, to show them the path of the possibilities in agriculture, in food, in cleaning up, in detoxification, in prevention, in health, in travel, in energy, and I haven't even started yet, and there are already so many platforms. So I think you all knowledge seekers will be very, very, very busy to work platforms, because you all know your own culture, how you can present things, and what is the most needed in your country. Start orientating yourselves how to walk the path, how you're going to offer it. Nobody will go jobless, nobody. Actually, you will even create more people that will be able to become functionable, more nourished, more healthy, because you have all the different platforms. I would like even to bring one person to come forward to explain how beautiful he has made a connection in the agriculture, how he has achieved to explain the energy of the plants. This is Dr. Guata. He has built up a huge knowledge bank because he's working 100% in the agriculture to show you a different path that is not only humanity, it's also the creatures which are around us, which we enjoy so much, the flowers, the trees, which are our partners to stay and keep us healthy. Dr. Guata, are you still present?
Yes, I am, Caroline. Thank you very much for inviting me. And there are also others, I believe, that work in agriculture. But what we have done is we've discussed in class our relationship with plants. And we've come to learn that plants also have souls. And we get a connection to plants through zinc, which is for our emotion, and it's for the soul of plants. That's why, for example, if you go to a forest, you feel very peaceful. So we've started looking at plants from a very different perspective as beings, which Mr. Keshe calls vertical people. So we consider that we talk to plants and they talk back to us. They give us peace. It's obvious for many that when you walk among trees or plants, of course you feel different. You feel like they are talking to you. You may not know the language. We've also learned that plants have emotions. In fact, Mr. Keshe says that their emotions, these are Mr. Keshe's words, that they are more emotional than women. These are relationships that we never knew before, but we may have seen examples. For example, I know of jacaranda trees. I have jacaranda trees in my backyard. And if you place a rotting wood or just a piece of wood, if you place it at the trunk of the jacaranda may be 100 years old or 50 years old, but it dies. So that shows extreme emotion. It's not that there is poison in dead wood, but it likes to be alone. It doesn't want dead wood around it. So its reaction is to die. Sometimes this also explains reasons why when you move plants from a different region, from one region to another, that is, they may not necessarily grow because of emotion, their emotions particularly. They like to grow where they came from originally, but some of them adapt. These are some considerations that we have not considered before. We didn't know necessarily of how closely related we are to plants. In fact, if we look at our bodies, in terms of nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and what's the other? No, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen, our amino acids, our bodies are made of about 96.2% are amino acids, the ones I just named. And that is also the case with plants. So we are very closely related. The major difference is that our blood comes about through, is based on iron, while that of plants is based on magnesium. And for this reason, magnesium is easier to digest more than iron, and that's why plants are more intelligent than we are. They digest easily. They don't move from place to place in search of food or work, but they live longer than we do. I've seen trees that are 2,000 years old and more. So did we even consider how intelligent plants were before learning Keshe technology, which is plasma science and technology? We probably did not. But now we have come to recognize these things, and over time we are gaining significant knowledge and learning how best to work with plants, plants that we use and plants that just grow. However, advancement of our knowledge in terms of working with our souls will lead us to a place where we will not need to kill plants in order to eat them. We can actually, and we are capable of getting the energy from plants without having to kill them. This is exactly what happens to us. We are not killed by entities that live above us. Of course, Mr. Keshe has taught us that the whole universe is packed with life. So there is life above us that we do not see. There is life below us that we don't see, all the way to the core, the Earth's core. And those are living beings. But those above us, because we radiate energy, they get energy from us, but they do not kill us. So understanding of the plasma technology will bring us to a level where we will not need to kill plants in order to get their energy. We can grow them because we like them, but we will not have necessary to kill them. And animals too. So that's all I have to share now. Thank you very much for giving me that opportunity. Had I known, I would have come with pictures of plants and behavior, but I don't have them right now because I didn't know that you would invite me. But thank you very much, Caroline, for giving me the opportunity to say something about agriculture and food and plants. Thank you very much indeed.
You know why? You're welcome, Dr. Quata. The reason why I brought you in is because in this line of this letter, it says no need for aggressive behavior. It's not only that we are aggressive with each other, we are also aggressive towards animals, plants. And we have to take all these points in consideration when we're gonna go and meet and sit on the table. That we take every point of no aggression into action. That's why I was, and I will repeat maybe this quite a few times, for people to be very aware, it's not only to put the weapons down, it's to put any form of aggression down that we are causing or creating to fish, to dogs, to ducks, to birds, to insects, to you name it, plants, flowers, bushes. They all have their right to exist in equal measurement as us. So that's why I keep on going back to the totality, as Mr. Keshe says. It is a big word, totality, and to understand the totality, that's why I was trying to get people in their own speciality to come forward in this presentation this afternoon, to go through the medical, to go through the plant. We had a vet. I can even share your experience with how I had to deal with little animals which were removed from the mother too early and then go into these horrible diseases. One thing for sure.
Can I come in, please? 1 second. I don't have much time.
Okay.
Yes,
I
sorry
got
about this.
spooked. No,
Hi,
it's
hi.
okay.
What I like, I just 1 second, please. Yeah, the situation you raised about the Arab nations and Arabic speaking nations. As we consider as one nation, one planet. Secondly, the Arab nation, we call Israel as part of the Palestine. That should not be a problem for either side. Tomorrow I'm meeting with the Iranian ambassador in asking the Iranian president to attend into Haifa. I know it's a long shot, but this is the thing it is. Arab nations, they don't look at Israel as Israel, they look at it as part of Palestine. So those of Arab nation speakers and the representative are worried about this. This should not be our worry. Our target is where we set. We've seen the response of the number.
Hello? Hello, Mr. Keshe?
Mr. Keshe will come back. He will come back,
Mm-hmm.
Rick. Just give him 1 minute, please.
Sure.
I just typed it in the chat room that I debriefed Mr. Keshe fully about this problem, and I told you I will leave it to him to explain. Just give him a few minutes; he will reappear. I told
Yes,
you
sorry
it's
about that. Can I come back in? The thing is regarding the Arabic world, we have no problem in respect to the Arabic world. Palestine is part of the structure of the one nation. It's us that we have to accept and make this Islamic leaders to understand. As I said, I have a meeting with my ambassador tomorrow, and this is what we are expecting to understand. We should have no problem. These are the fears of the past. Do your job. What you agreed, it will be completed. We've seen the response from different governments. We can push, but this is how we have to stay fast. Do not bother in what was. As I wrote in the communication with the Earth Council, Dr. Paris this morning, this is your worries, it's not our worries. This is the past. Move on. We have to move on. The new technology brings its own changes. In my meeting with the Iranian ambassador the last time, I invited Ayatollah Khamenei to the same position. In my stay in Iran, I know the feeling. There is a time and a need for change. We changed the situation with the Americans. We have changed the same with Philippines and China in China Sea. We've done enough. We changed the Northern Ireland situation. We got to understand these are old manners. Don't keep it as a fear. Your job is to do what we agreed, which is done. I know 2 world leaders have already accepted. Next week I'll get the signatures to attend. Please do not create fear out of what doesn't exist. This is all of the past, not the present. I've already spoken with the American ambassador group in Ghana 2 or 3 weeks ago in my stay there. They know our position. Ignore what was. Target is what we are doing, and we know what leaders will respond in the next 2 weeks as we expect. Stay on course and do not make Arab leaders. It's you who don't like it, not them. They are all waiting for a solution, and this is the solution we are looking for. I have to leave, but I was asked to come in, so I came for you to understand. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Keshe, do we keep the wording of that paragraph? All the world leaders to gather in Haifa in the state of Israel at the seat of the Universal House of Justice. Is that correct?
Yeah, the thing is, if you want to reduce, change the word of it. Say it is the state of Israel. We know that. You can invite them to Mount Carmel. To the Arab nation, Mount Carmel is sacrosanct. This is what they don't tell you. Change it to Mount Carmel in Haifa. You don't need to put it in the state of Israel. You have to understand, Abrahism comes from Carmel. They come to Mount Carmel, but they will not come to Israel. And that's why the bridge has been made that way. We have to understand the totality of the politics of Middle East. Change it. Change the wording. Take the state of Israel out. As I said, put it to the Mount Carmel in Haifa. If that's satisfied, but don't change anything else. The state of Israel does not exist the same as the state of the United States, the same as Iran. As one nation, they are becoming part of totality. So change it to Mount Carmel in Haifa. This is the ground I'm negotiating with the Iranian government. This is how I negotiate with other world leaders. This is our strength. We can do it. If that worries, take a state of Israel out. Mount Carmel, it's a promised land, and the building is already there.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you indeed. Keep on the same course. Do not change, please.
As I promised, as it was so important to ease this awkward feeling, I informed Mr. Keshe in the background, and whenever he could, you didn't even have to wait till tomorrow morning, or it didn't even have to go to the council meeting. That's how fast our souls are working to remove the pain and the fear. If you understand this process, because Mr. Keshe was not supposed to be appearing anywhere, not even being able to read the message I was sending him until tomorrow. So your wish has been granted and your fears are being removed. Because in this peace process, as I just mentioned, after the agricultural teaching, I said there should be no aggression on no level. But that counts as well, not to remove it only for yourself, but for everything that will be and come in touch and is in touch with each other that creates aggravation. Maybe this was a very nice confirmation how fast your wishes are working. We feel and we sense each other because we are connected. And the release has come. How long are we in the teaching, Rick? And this topic came from the beginning.
Yeah.
How far are we in the teaching?
6 hours.
2 hours from the beginning of the afternoon session, Caroline.
Yeah.
It came on the table in the afternoon, yeah?
So 2 hours, that's very quick wish. Beats 14 days. Very quick wish.
Now you start getting the confirmation that it works very fast and it is heard and the wishes are getting granted and the release of the stress has been granted because look, out of nowhere you receive a gift. I cannot show you any easier path now to take in account how fast your wishes are working to remove the pain because you're going to a target, to a goal which is in the benefit of every single being on this planet. That's the word totality. That's how fast it worked. And most probably you will see, you can call them miracles, but I don't think so. That's the working through the soul which receives the message, which then takes its time to appear in the physicality to receive for you what is needed because it exists. And that's why I was mentioning in this first paragraph, no aggression. We cannot be aggressive towards nothing because aggression is created because of pain, bad memories, fear, structures which are no longer existing, which we are creating the path for this to be changed, to unite. But we're going to have to learn to apply the ethos, what we have learned over all these teachings and paths we have been walking. We have had Mr. Keshe in his division. We have had John coming up this morning, so beautiful and so forceful with his enthusiasm. He wants to show you, he wants to teach you. He would take you on the table and say, you know, go and do this and assemble this and go in there and do this. And this is the new mentality of where we are going. We're all going to change in this kind of people. I hope it doesn't scare you off because it's traveling so fast. This beauty of this message. As you said, Libby, 2 hours. That's not even 14 days, and I promised only till tomorrow morning. And there you see, there comes a window to bring a positive message, to release, to remove the aggravation, the aggression, and the insecurity, and the pain, and the whatever it doesn't feel good. To change your energy level, to increase your energy level, because we're all going to need all your souls to be at peace, to achieve peace. Can we go to the next paragraph on less? More people want to share this topic about aggression.
Okay, we ended at, it is time for change from war to peace. This is fundamental and necessary now. If this is your wish, it is ours also. And then we go on to the next page. To this end, we invite you to Haifa, Israel. Again, I wonder if we should, excuse me, I wonder if we should change that, or anyway, that can be discussed afterwards. To this end, we invite you to Haifa, Israel on the 2nd and 3rd of August, 2017, along with other leaders and dignitaries from around the world, where you can sign the World Peace Treaty on behalf of the nation and commit your nation to disarm and create an atmosphere of peace on this planet. A copy of the World Peace Treaty for you to sign is attached. There are better economic alternatives now available for immediate development through new technologies. These technologies provide vast new investment and employment opportunities that far exceed what has existed to date at a fraction of the cost and complexity. Based on plasma science, a completely new era of peace and prosperity is opening up to all mankind. I know you are a good and kind-hearted soul entangled in an outdated and failing status quo. Here lies an unprecedented opportunity. Be one of the first world leaders to seize this opportunity. Your name will then live on into the future of our children and grandchildren as the Prime Minister / President / King. Please consider this request written with the pen of our soul to your soul and respond with positive action. Yours cordially, Earth Council, Universal Council, and core team of the KF SSI. And then lastly, P.S. Please respond to this invitation by 27th of July, 2017 by email to peace@theearthcouncil.org, whether your Honorable Majesty, Excellency / Holiness personally or your appointed representative will honor the invitation. Okay, and people are to select one of those words and enter it into that space, apparently, and have that printed out, or have that as the final document.
when I filled this out, I noticed that on behalf of the nation, well, I wrote it for Canada, so on behalf of the Canada doesn't work, so I had to write on behalf of the nation of Canada. Is that what we're doing? Because otherwise, on behalf of would be better than on behalf of the nation. I found that there. And then when I filled in Prime Minister Trudeau's name here, your name will then live on into the future of our children and grandchildren, as the Prime Minister kind of leaves it hanging. So fortunately, whether we should do this or not, but I did, as the Prime Minister who signed for peace is what I added, because that line is long enough to fit that in. And the other issue I noticed is that if the Prime Minister or leader, the world leader, has a long name, it doesn't actually fit in. Fortunately for me, Justin Trudeau had a short name, but on the first page where you put in the name, Your Excellency, there's no room to say Your Excellency Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. There's just room to write Your Excellent, just put Justin Trudeau in there. So if we could expand that field to allow for longer names, I think that would be very helpful. And this might just be a technicality, but I did send mine in. I did send it by registered mail because I wanted to make sure he got it and that I had confirmation that he got it. And when I signed it as my name and as for all grandmothers everywhere, because I felt that was from my heart and I wanted to add that into my signature. So just ways we can work with this to personalize it from our soul. But when we're restrained, especially up there, I believe there are some leaders who have very long names, and we wouldn't. And again, when you're addressing them, you want to address them with their full name. So that's just suggestions I'd like to put forward.
Good points, Libby. For example, that first part where it says Your Excellency, and then in brackets, Your Highness, apparently that can't be altered so easily compared to putting in the name afterwards. So maybe that has to be changed somehow. So it's more able to enter the correct what do you call it, salutation to whatever particular leader it is. Maybe it'd be something different than Your Excellency or Your Highness. Well, perhaps that can be worked on in the meeting for the letter. I think that's be after this meeting.
I also want to add that when I had signed the letter and I had it addressed, I held it in my hands and I meditated with it, and I envisioned Prime Minister Trudeau opening it, reading it with great joy, and signing the peace treaty. And I had great joy in doing it. I walked over to the post office singing, really sending my plasmatic fields of joy to him and all beings, because I knew he would sign it. And those
Very good.
The energies we, from my perspective, need to add to everything we do.
Oh, that's great, Libby. That's a really good addition to that. I'll have to try to remember that when I get my letter off to him.
It is so important what you brought forward, Libby, is because it's like creating a reactor. It's like creating your maggraph system. It's the process how you make your ganses. You give from your soul before you give it to start creating. That was beautiful what you just brought forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Keshe Foundation and all knowledge seekers. I am so grateful to be here and part of this.
Yeah, because that's really the concept of unconditional. We're giving unconditionally, so that means we're not saying that we know you're a bad person, but we're giving anyways. We just give, and we don't consider whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, or whether they're actually going to take action or not, or all these different considerations aren't really part of the unconditional part of the giving when it's actually unconditional giving. So again, we come up against this thing. What is it that we would what is it that holds us back from unconditional giving to our leaders? Most of us have probably a mixed viewpoint of our leaders. We don't hold them as highly sometimes as the position would indicate, and we see some of the shenanigans that seems to go on in this planet and so on, and we tend to fall into our opinions of them, and whether they're a good person or a bad person, or they're a good entity or a bad entity, and all these kinds of considerations. But unconditional giving is unconditional giving. And if you think of it as in terms of a mother and a child, the mother has this unconditional giving for the child, and no matter, pretty much, no matter how much the child messes up and does things incorrectly, or literally messes up in terms of some children and their things they do and whatnot, but still there's that unconditional love for the mother and the child, and it's able to overcome certain circumstances, and the mother can impart knowledge and understanding and that kind of thing to the child, to allow the behavior to change in certain directions and whatnot. So in a way, we have to give that unconditional love to our leaders, and that means not allowing our own negativity toward them to interfere with that transmission of giving. I think any negativity we might have to them would tend to lessen that strength of that intention going out.
Since we're all one, any negativity would be directed to ourselves.
That's right. It bounces right back, and it just interferes and contaminates with the message, you might say. So it seems like the cleaner we can be inside of ourselves to deliver this intent, the more higher strength, or the more powerful that field, that message becomes. Would that be a fair assessment?
Rick, thank you. Can you try Dr. Rodriguez again, please? I saw him reappearing again. Thank you.
Okay, I'll try to unmute.
Go to Rodrigo. Before you go to Rodrigo, this is John here. What happens when we translate this to give to our different presidents or governors or whatever? We'll have many more small details which could crop up, and how are we going to analyze them?
What language are you translating into, John?
I have to translate to Spanish, Argentine Spanish, not Spaniard Spanish. But this will happen with any other language.
As I think what Mr. Keshe has given you the green light for tonight. We have put this letter in PDF. The reason why is it already is getting flagged as there is a malfunctioning with it. So we are people which are really running very hard in our tracks to try to stop this letter to create upheaval. The only reason why this letter has gone into PDF is that nobody can tamper with this letter. I suggested that if you are working in good faith, you can print the letter, adjust it towards how you feel with your language and your nation. Keep the structure of the letter as intact as possible. But you can, as Libby already brought some points forward, which we knew, adjust it that you can fill in the full names as you desire. Maybe you have to change, as Jalal was requesting, and Jamila and some other people, to change certain ways that it will not offend. But please respect the structure of the letter, and in good faith and with your purity of your soul, then send it out, because it will carry your correct intent. We just try to prevent the mayhem which we have seen coming up with all the previous sending out that they were trying to tamper with it. So please, sir, don't worry. You're not breaking any rules. We are working towards unity. So in good faith, adjust the letter so that you know that it becomes adjustable or acceptable for your leader, for your people. That's why we have our different languages and expression and cultures, and we do respect. That's no problem.
I understand. I've got the ethos and the meaning and whatever of this letter, but when we translate, we've got pretty differences in the translation. And here we're arguing if a sentence has to have a couple of more spaces or one small word or not. That's what I was putting forward.
Sir, you can, you have a Universal Council member or somebody like on the Earth Council. Dr. Rodriguez is well in the good position to go and consult and send messages through any of our teams. We will get back to you what you want to change, the reason why you want to adjust it. They understand your language. That's why we have the Universal Councils. We have the Support Council members. We have the Earth Council, and we have the core team. We have more or less covered the whole planet in the most possible different language which are achievable at this moment. So please, that's the reason why we are there to support you. You can always ask through our webmasters or in the chat room who is available to help you, to support. And very soon I already am receiving through the back the translation in French. I'm guiding somebody to go into the Flemish translation. So German will come up very soon. So don't hesitate to ask for help, sir. You're more than welcome. We will be there for you.
I don't have any problem in translating it at all. What I'm saying is, if we're arguing here for a couple of words difference in English, when the translation will be made, we're going to have many more differences and need of space and whatever. I mean, it's
don't worry about
small things.
That's normal because it's all new to, and everybody wants it to as perfect in the perfect that it can be. And I do understand. That's why we don't make a big fuss about it. And I let people to come and express themselves, because we could have cut it off from the beginning, but we don't. Because what they notice is maybe irrelevant for you, but it might be very accurate for them because of the difference of the language and the nationalities and the cultures. So we respect every single one. Jalal, Jamal, every single person is important to work on this process because we need to gel like one plasma field in understanding why the nitty-gritties also need to be taken care of. So be patient. That's how we will learn to be very calm, to tolerate our differences, even if it's noticing a comma or a point or a space, or it is important. Otherwise, they wouldn't speak about it. So if we go into respect of this matter, it opens a new door. Tolerance, support. They will see that maybe it's important for them, but maybe it's not important for me, but I respect their time that they need to come to, that they can adjust it to their energy. Because the whole purpose of this letter is to create one big wave of a positive energy input. As I tried to explain, this was so significant, important. The word, one word, the state of Israel, that Mr. Keshe even popped out of nowhere. I was even shocked because I was in the middle of my talking. I didn't even expect him to come. It's a gift. So be a gift to everyone and be patient and tolerant. And I think if we can show and carry this on our shoulders towards each other, we already have moved more walls than anyone and any leader in this planet. Have we?
I'm 100% with you, Caroline. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Don't worry. We're all here to support. We're all here to bring, to create. And the first things which are coming on the table, you think, oh, maybe it's nothing. But it's so significant if you go and analyze into detail why it is so important. You come with the wording will change, the interpretation will change, because in your language, they need to be approached in a different way. So go ahead, because it has to be perfect. It has to be beautiful. And your effort is already changing the plan and the path of the letter. Maybe even without you standing still, the importance of bringing this forward. That's why I try to put the points on every single one of you. You exist. You have the right. We are all equal. Tolerance, acceptance, differences. We are very slowly going to fade all these walls away. Maybe through these little points and nudges in understanding we are not the same, but we are the same. But it's a matter of respect. And I thank you for your patience of each one of because maybe now it comes to light to you all, the patience you all have shown being in this teaching this afternoon, that even a point and a comma and a word and a name and a country is for every single soul in its difference to be equal, to be acknowledged for the same purpose of the wish of peace. And I really thank you for all your patience and respect to each other. And the teachings are becoming more and more respectful towards each other. And it's a pleasure to see you growing. And as Rick said before the meeting closed this morning, this was a beautiful morning. It was very nice to be and pleasant to be here. Because you're all becoming more peaceful, because you're all connected, you're all involved, you're all searching the path to find the solutions, to make sure nothing goes wrong. So each in your own way are taking your responsibility to make sure the point, the comma, the line, the space, the name, where it is beautiful. And it's amazing. It's absolutely beautiful. And I thank you. And the point for me to request Dr. Rodriguez back is because I was there when he explained how he communicated with this person when he started the process of the reverse of the breast cancer, which you all been from a distance witnessing this horrible state, and how he processed this whole to something more beautiful. But it's the step, how he took it and how he achieved it, which makes it so beautiful. And every single doctor and every single alternative and every single veterinary and every single person like looking after the plants and the flowers and the waters have even been dealt with. We start covering the whole planet. And tomorrow we will show you more. We will offer you more, or maybe in the afternoon. So I will be honored if Mr. Dr. Rodriguez could come forward, please. Unless he has a problem with the connection, I don't know. Rick, can you find him?
Hello, Dr. Rodrigo. His microphone's open now. But I'm not hearing any sound coming through. Hello, Dr. Rodrigo. I don't think he's replying at this point.
Rick, I think he has a hardware problem.
Okay.
Dr. Klaus, can you recall how Dr. Rodriguez explained the process, not so much in the application of the ganses and the systems, but on soul level, how he approached this person? Is it vivid in your mind?
Not as good as he can explain, Carolina. But as far as far as he always showed us the progress in the medical teaching, we could see the progress in terms of when he talked about how his communication with the lady was. And there was there was a progress in his talks with her, and as far as I can remember, there was a
We lost Dr.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can now, yeah.
Okay.
We just lost the last sentence or two there.
Okay, sorry about that. I just said that Rodrigo, that the lady with the breast cancer was in Rodrigo's machine, like he always calls it, in his call unit and in his tube unit. And there was once the question in the medical teaching, and we asked him, Rodrigo, what do you think, what was the impact of your soul in this whole process? And I guess he said about 80–90%. And it came very spontaneous. So this was one of these points, one of these days in the medical teaching where we all realized how powerful we all are. And that all these devices are here to as a kind of bridge, or as a kind to help us to see something, to give people something that they can touch. But in reality, under brackets, it is the soul which is giving and which is making the whole process, which is communicating with the other soul. And this is something we really saw, experienced when Rodrigo brought his results step by step to the medical teaching. I know that he used different types of machines, but more or less we realized that these machines were maybe only for the patient to have a kind of device, a kind of aim, a kind of thing to touch, to believe in. And as I said before, the impact of the soul was huge in this process.
With what you're saying now, Dr. Klaus, is the point that I wanted to bring so clearly today in this sharing is that nobody needs to abandon their systems because they're going to go parallel with the soul work. And the knowledge seekers will be very much aware of this in this peace process when they're going to go and sit on the table. They're going to work with their soul because they're going to have to make the same steps as Libby was explaining. Before you enter the building, you're going to have to prepare the souls to be able to receive, even if it is in a materialistic state, because it will be your reactor, or it will be your star formation, or it will be your ganses, but that they carry the energy fields of your intent for it to reveal and to smooth the path, that the wall is already down before you walk in. You prepare your ground. That's the whole process, what I'm trying to prepare you even for when the signing of the peace treaty takes place. You already need to prepare your souls and your path, because you're going to have a bigger path to work on, because now you're going to have to work in the physicality and through your soul path. So the energy levels will grow and will be extending to engulf that your path makes it easy. So your intent is always, will be always so important. That's your emotion which will come in. How you direct your intent to where you're going, how you're going to reach them. And each in your own language, your own culture, as we just noticed with the letter and the translations, will be so important. I can maybe translate and guide into what I understand. That's why we are all so different, and we will have to approach each in our own fields to make it one big field. We will unite, but our difference will fade out of the point of respect and the path you want to walk. And how you're going to walk, that's the path you're going to have to prepare as humanity. How do you want to walk the path of peace? Not just to achieve that design, it's not finished, that's your job will start. That's why I keep on emphasizing nobody will go jobless, no way. And I wanted to bring a point forward, which will be important as well, to bring it on the table, because the first topic came on the table, that everybody should receive a payment. How are you going to achieve payment in Africa, in the Bruces, where you can't even get there by payment yet? But there is a huge wave of, as I was analyzing it in my point of perspective, where these huge problems of malaria and all these other huge diseases, which are really bringing people down, it has the same feeding ground as you're suffering and say, you know, we can use equal steady pay every month that we can sustain ourselves. Those people we're going to have to reach through our fields, through a different way, not through money, because what can you spend in the jungle? But there are suffering, but in a different level. That's why these huge plagues are present on this planet. They have no enough food to gather on the table. Clothes, comfort, a little bit is not even existing. Some tribes do very well, but majority where these problems are, they don't. It's a day-to-day, the same equal surviving as you do in the materialistic world, where luxury is everywhere around you, but you have no meanings to get to it, not even to support yourself with the minimum. How are we going to evaluate each other in that kind of support that we reach everywhere? Start creating the paths. You will have so much to do. And you don't have to abandon what you already learned up till now, because you're going to be able to work, as Dr. Klaus brought it forward. You still need something tangible to touch. But at the same time, you work through the soul, the path of the soul. And the way we solve this problem with this letter, the punctuality and the correctness and the acceptance and the respect, this is what we're going to have to teach first. But if you walk the path as an example, people learn from example, not only because there is a matter that you can touch. The way you walk, you are a walking example of peace. Shine it, show it. People learn faster from a good example than from being told how to do it. And I wanted to bring Dr. Klaus back because we have a beautiful example in Austria. And Dr. Klaus can explain to you, we have a medical system which is giving us results beyond. But I will give the honor to Dr. Klaus to explain. Please, Dr. Klaus.
Thank you, Carolina. Yes, we already delivered a great number of units, of call units. There is one interesting story. I think you want me to talk about this. It is a health unit. It's a call unit in this case, which was delivered to an Austrian therapist. And this therapist's intention was to give this unit free, to let the unit free to use of people around him in this area or wherever they come from. And this unit brings beautiful results from very sick kids till a case which is more or less funny, but there came a gentleman to this therapist, and he said, I have my knee hurts really, really much, and could you help me, please? They made MRIs and everything, and the therapist said, just come every day, sit 2 hours in the call unit. After a week, the gentleman said, all my pains are away. But you think what is interesting? My hair suddenly started to grow. It was a balded. He had no hair on his head, and the gentleman came back another day, and he put 2,000 euros on the table and said, "This is worth minimum of my hair coming back," and they started to grow and grow. So these are only some examples of the units. The units are built with the intention of peace, love, and health. And if they come into the hands of therapists, people, doctors who has the same intentions, they give you miracles. You can make everything with them, because this is something we saw, and we were very lucky about this. When we create these units with our intention, and the units come into the hands of people with other intentions, they even move their owner. We saw it with the first unit we delivered. It was delivered to Germany to a therapist, and there was something wrong, not wrong, but he or she had difficulties in his life. And we realized that the unit, that the therapist then could not concentrate on dealing with the call unit. And after some weeks, in this case months, I received a call, and I became aware that the unit changed its owner. And with a new owner, it seems to fit very well. And they started to work together. I say they started to work together because we see all the devices we create as individuals, as souls, with a specific intention, more or less an intention which helps the people who work with them to act out of their soul, which supports the soul of the people. And as we saw these souls we create, we all together create, they are looking for their specific, their right owners, which are able to deal with them. So we even realized that the units we give to humanity have their own will, or however you can express this, and they even are able to change, to switch to other people if it does not fit, if they don't have the right environment to work with. Yeah, it is more or less amazing to realize when you start to build, in our case, a device for the medical sector. You create a soul, no matter if you do this in the medical sector, also in all the other sectors of the foundation. You're creating souls, and the souls interact with the people, interact with you, and together you manage to target the souls around you. And in the medical sector, it's more or less a group which is formed then between the patient, the therapist, and the plasma devices, which together activate, which together elevate the souls around. And this was something we also realized, not from the beginning on. We just started to build devices and tried to dig deeper and gain more experience. But this combination, this creation of a soul, that we all are creating souls when we start to nano-code, making ganses, finishing the products, the devices we are making. It took a while until we realized that this is a creation that we are creating, and that these entities then help us, support us, and that we can work together.
Okay, thank you, Klaus. There's a question from Emmanuel Spateri. Can an official letter be drafted to send to the media to promote this event in Haifa? Something we haven't know if we've considered that actually. There should be a press release, perhaps available on the Keshe Foundation site that people can get to send to their media. For now, they can send the link to the letter to world leaders, the link to the Keshe Foundation and whatnot. Okay, we have a few minutes left here. Go ahead.
Yeah, somebody brought something in the chat room to make a draft to be sent to the media. I think that if you send this kind of letter to your media, maybe we can discuss it tonight and come back tomorrow with an answer. It is a good idea. It's a good proposition that it's not carrying the title of the presidents and this official way. And maybe we can adjust it to prepare it as you wish to go for publication in the media. Because now individuals can get up. Yes.
The population can endorse it too.
The thing
We're
is,
open for yes.
I was going to say the thing is that it would be a courtesy to send the invitation to the leaders themselves, I suppose, before they read it in the media somewhere, and then get the letter. It makes sense that we should send it to them first, perhaps, and then do a media release about it.
Yeah. It's already circulating. They're well aware of it. Don't worry. They're keeping an eye on our traffic everywhere, because otherwise they wouldn't start obstructing it, would they, Rick?
Yeah, and so in the press release, we also say, if you agree with this, let your governors know.
Yeah, we can do slight adjustments. Any feedback on this will be more than welcome. So maybe we can take some time tomorrow to use the same, but then change the topics and see how we can build it up for publication. That will be beautiful. We don't need to wait, because they're more than aware what we're doing. That's why when the point came about Israel, which is so sensitive in politic levels, that I would not. I give the honor to Mr. Keshe, and he brought the answer back. So your ideas are more than welcome, because we're growing. And as Rick said, we have about 10 minutes left. I would like to bring one thing into this meeting, if it's okay for all of you. I mentioned Naomi quite a few times. Can we dedicate 1 minute of peace to send a new wave of our plasma fields and our intents towards Naomi? And not only Naomi, but also the parents of Fabio, which are really struggling with the loss of their boy, and the sister of Naomi, which is such a beautiful soul. May I request this from all of you for honoring those souls, please, tonight in this 1 minute silence?
Thank you, Caroline, for that suggestion. Is there anything else you'd like to add at this point?
I would like to ask if people can answer or type in the chat if they can't answer. Are you happy with as far as we have achieved up till now? And confirm, please, with a yes, I am present.
Yes, I am present.
And please say your name.
Libby.
And Rick Cram, and I'm definitely present for all of this. And I discussed this in the Keshe Plasma Reactor group, how humbled and amazed I am at the response that people have had in the world to this teaching and to this new peace movement, and all of it. It's just amazing.
I'm Gatwa Bugwa, and I am present and very happy with the progress we've made thus far. Thank you very much.
This is Flint Mulhausen. Yes, I am present and very happy.
I see the chats coming up. A lot of people are expressing, yes, I am present, and the names are appearing. Thank you for sharing your feelings and confirmation. That confirms that we are on the right direction. I would like to give the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes to Paul Yatut, because he is coming from a different part of the world with the knowledge of his grand and great-grandfather and ancestors, which always gives a very strange twig on beautiful information, but it's the way he brings it. If he is available, Paul Yatut, I would like to hear what the African people would like to bring as their blessing to add to this knowledge, please, if your internet is working, that we can hear you properly. Thank you.
Hello. Good morning, Caroline. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, Paul. Yes, Paul, loud and clear.
Okay. So, in this process of peace, in this process of project, we have learned a lot from Mr. Keshe, and we try to practice, and we get beautiful results. And we are going from result to results, improvement to improvements. No one day we have been deceived by plasma technology applying to save the life of anyone in our area. And this was very beautiful. Even the children of 80 years who cannot speak, who never speak, their father never listened to them. With plasma technology, these children have started talking to their father after just using plasma technology for 6 months. And this was very, very beautiful. And when you see the father, the mother, and all the family happy to talk with their children who never talk in their life, who never express in his life, and from technology, he can now communicate with his parents. It was so beautiful. And some old men who have already lost his eye also again his eye came back. He say, I can't believe what is the kind of medicine you bring to me, because I never hear in my life that someone having lost his eye and then came back. And we get also some we call them mad people, foolish people. By zinc and CO2, we bring them back. They become normal. They have integrated their society. And it is also beautiful to see some people who have lost them to come back in the society and share again what they have in common with their society. And we have a lot of results from the health side. 100 testimonials about the health. But I can say something, one secret in this plasma technology. When you give with your pure heart, when you give without waiting something, the result yourself you cannot understand. You cannot say, did I do that? Yes, you. Plasma technology needs pure hearts. When you have pure hearts from anyone, there is no way you will get results. And from these results, we have learned a lot of by giving more and more, because we never let someone in our way when we know plasma technology. All patients we get rejected by a hospital because they don't have a solution, or their social finance don't allow them to get treatments. We already give them and offer them treatments. And when you see them come with their pure soul to say you, thank you for bringing me back to this life, you realize which power we have with us. And from these different developments, we have reached one point where no one, I say no one, can discuss or discredit this technology in front of me, in front of our team. Because from improvement to improvement, from case to case, we get enlightenment. And from these enlightenments, we have reached one beauty, is that today we are able to extract any seed of any disease and give back to the owner in the hands. It meaning that we have now, or we have reached one point where physically people can see what is coming out of their body. And it is very beautiful. We extract the seed of illnesses, take these seeds and say to the owner, this was the case or the cause of your illnesses. take it and please just put it where you want. So it is very beautiful. And from there, no scientific can discredit, because we just need one case to extract the seed of illnesses, and then everyone can see. So this is the most beautiful points and improvement we have. We have also now some reactor, and from this reactor you can feed yourself. You can stay until 3 days if you never take food, you never drink. And this is beautiful. You just put yourself in the reactor and then you get what you need. You put out what you don't need. And you have possibility to exchange with your environment very easily and very quickly. I will invite everyone to really try to understand this knowledge in deeply, and then try. There is nothing to lose when you help someone. If we remember last week, Mr. Keshe was talking about depression. When you are waiting something from someone and then you don't get it, start there. Just give freely without waiting nothing, and you will see what you will gain. The knowledge you will gain back, no one can challenge you with this. The knowledge you will gain back, any money cannot compensate this. So please try to understand. The problem is understanding. Try to understand very deeply and just apply where needs this technology, and your results will be your encouragement. So thank you everyone, and thank you Caroline for giving me the honor.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, Paul. There is one thing I want to, for finishing this meeting, is something very important which came in the topic today. Somebody brought the topic forward that there could be abuse. Now, in the explanation, you should have realized with Dr. Klaus explaining about the systems, the medical systems, that it even changes owner. It changes location. It will not be abused. It will not allow to be abused. He has given you a testimony, Dr. Klaus, which you maybe didn't stand still the time he was explaining it. But the system moved. The system did not stay with the presence of somebody who could not deal with it. Now, Paul has explained again, it can only do beneficial. It will move to where the souls can receive what they need. The path of the soul communicates with what you have created because it's an entity. Please do respect whatever you create, not only in the physicality, but with your and through your soul. When you touch this letter, please, you create a path, the path of peace. And I like to thank you all for your path of peace, to make it one big plasma path of love and care. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, panelists. thank everyone who's working in the background. We would have not been able to sustain all these days of teachings without all your support in the background. Stanley, Ella, Sandor, Vince, Rick, Flint, so many people, plus all the core members, plus all the Universal Council members, plus all the Earth Council members, which are working very hard behind the screens. As we are going to move into the next meeting to go to the topic, as we discussed, to make more doors open for other world leaders to be approached in their culture, their language. We're going to start working on the next one. And I promised you, we haven't had time yet because of the durations of the teachings and the long evenings and early nights, wherever, what time frame you're working. But tomorrow afternoon, I will present, I hope, to finish it tonight with the core and the team members, all the members, to finish the letter to invite whoever is joining us on this planet and beyond this planet as souls to come and to support us in our peace process, to finally end the struggle and to create a new path. And as many of you have already been informed, they have already confirmed their presence. Visually, they are present. And soon, with the letter we will put in public, we will open the doors to all and the totality. I say goodbye for tonight, and I thank you, every single one, for all your support and your love and your care and your freely giving. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Caroline. Okay, so it looks like that brings to a close our Blueprint for Peace for Humanity for today. And we have the 181st Knowledge Seekers Workshop coming up. That'll be at 9 a.m. CEST time on Thursday, July 20th, 2017. So, okay, I think we'll end the workshop for now. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending, as I say usually. And it was some very interesting perspectives brought forward. Thank you, everybody, for your intentions as well as your thoughts. Okay, we'll end the live stream for now.
I will enjoy my last piece of birthday cake. I hope I can share the taste with you.